welcome back to Carterets. Today we're out in the XJR, giving her a little review after installing a new intake pipe. Doesn't really sound any difference if I'm honest with you. Already had a massive K&N on there anyway, cold fed behind the back of the bumper. For those of you who don't know, let me wind this window up. Oh, that needs a bit of grease, doesn't it? Another job, another video. Those of you who don't know, this is quite a heavily modified XJR 308. It's had lots done to it. I've got receipts for about 14 grand's worth of modifications she's had done to it over the years, which is quite extreme. Start with performance. Upper and lower supercharged pulleys, uprated powerhouse intercooler, the Mina Gallery throttle body to MAF intake pipe, and then from the MAF through the bodywork behind the rear bumper to a rather sizable K&N. It's got 100 cell race cats, full stainless exhaust system with crossover scavenging pipe. I think that's pretty much it on the modifications for the engine performance wise. Now we'll move on to suspension. Front end fully polybushed, including subframe and the swing arms. It's got a shortened, stiffer anti-roll bar on, along with polybushes. Onto the rear suspension, exactly the same. Polybushed rear subframe, polybushed diff cradle, polybush swing arms, shortened and thicker anti-roll bar, along again with polybushes. The journal and the crown of the original limited slip differential has been removed and replaced with a Quaife journal and crown, so we know it can take a bit of a pounding before it's going to break. It's currently sat on 4 brand spanking new Jaguar shock absorbers, the green ones, 38mm lower in Jaguar racing springs, 25mm H&R wheel spacers to allow the big brake conversion to fit. Currently got the 6-pot Brembo calipers on the front, the 4 pots on the rear, stainless Goodrich braided brake lines. All the fuel pumps have been uprated, the thermostat's been uprated, all of the little niggles these cars normally come with, like the valley pipe and all of that sort of stuff, that's all been done and taken care of. What else has she had done? She's had so much done. It's currently sat on a set of Toyo Proxy Sports, which I've recently found out in the rain are not actually that good. Great dry grip, fantastic. Squeal a little bit when you're really pushing it through the corners, but in the wet they are yeah, they're not great if I'm honest. Yeah, pretty much it on the modifications. Lots of maintenance stuff's been done. Being a 2002 model, she's obviously 21 years old, but it's the AJ27 engine, which has already had a lot of the niggles taken care of from the factory. Although saying that, I do have receipts for brand new timing chain upper and lower tensioners, all been updated and replaced, so we know that's good. Recently had a full service, all oils, new set of spark plugs, iridium tipped. Recently just put a new alternator on it as well. Yeah, she's in very good working order, and it's just an absolute pleasure to drive. You would not believe you're driving a 21-year-old Jaguar. Admittedly, it is quite stiff on certain roads. I don't know if you're new to the channel, but if you are, check out a couple of my other videos. You see a dark blue XJR in 1998 model, high mileage hero. That was a fantastic car. Had a lot of problems with it, it's very worn out, but all in all it was a fantastic vehicle. Chalk and cheese difference compared to this one. this was used as a track day car at some point in its life from one of the previous owners. When we took it apart to get it ready for a respray, we were finding multiple coloured bits of tarmac up under the wheel arches, which could only mean one thing, that's rumble strips. So she's had a good life. She's had a lot of money spent on her at the same time. All the interior's recently been colonised. My dad did that before I bought it off of him. Headline has been done. Yeah, like I say, it's just an absolute pleasure to drive. Absolute pleasure to drive. Had a few niggles with it since I've got it. There's a few things I had to sort out. The power steering rack was leaking, so I had to sort that out. Reservoir was leaking, so I had to sort that out. Like I said, the alternator actually turned out to be a problem from the factory. Chatting to a few guys on the Facebook Owners Club and showed them what had happened. Apparently it was a recall when they were new. The low pressure side of the power steering pump, hard line, runs right behind the back of the alternator. And obviously metal behind the back of an alternator, it wants to arc, so that's exactly what it did. Over time it had blown a massive hole in the back of the alternator, and I think that's where my issues came from with this power steering rack. It was obviously electrifying the whole rack, chucking 120 amps through it, which would have been a bit of a shock if you were servicing the thing, that's for sure. So sorted that out, put some pictures up on the Owners Club saying, has anyone seen anything like this? And that's when they said, yeah, that was actually a factory recall for when they were new, believe it or not. So, yeah, at least it's sorted now. What I did, I actually, because it was a low pressure side, I actually chopped part of that line out, replaced it with 3/8 fuel line, so it would never arc out again. Actually, on the high pressure side, it had also rubbed itself or arced out against the actual oil pan, also another hole in the high pressure side. And the only place I could get that hose from was Jaguar main steeler for like a costly sum of, I think, £300 something plus VAT. So I wasn't really prepared to pay that. Obviously I would have paid that if I had to. If it was a last resort, then I would definitely have paid it. But I managed to actually unbolt the power steering line, take it off the vehicle, chopped a few mil back either side from where it had actually chafed through on the oil pan, and repaired it with 3/8 hardline AN fittings. Cost me about 16 quid, and touch wood, it's been perfect ever since. Been to a few shows this year already. Bewley being the big one, Bewley Jag Day. Fantastic day out. There's around, I don't know, probably about 1,200 cars there in total. About 40 different XJRs. The only XJR there in zircon blue was this one. So if you're watching this and you live in the UK and you have a zircon blue pearl XJR X308, hit me up, because I'd love to come and drive up the country wherever you are, come meet you, because I can't find another XJR. I can find an executive, people have got executives, not an XJR though. So I'd like to find another one, see how rare the old girl really is. Well, like I said, the exhaust note on it's nice. Really nice. When you're off the power, it's extremely quiet. I don't drive this car all the time, so I would prefer it to be a little louder than what it is. So I could probably keep the rear boxes, but I may lose the middle silencers. You know, the muffler, the boxes, the silencers underneath the car, 2 of them. So I lose those. Have a straight pipes right behind the crossover pipe. I'm sure that'll liven up the noise a little bit. But saying that, it does sound fantastic. It's like a mix of a muscle car and a luxury old man yacht, if you like. With a fantastic sound note when it's under load. It reminds me of a Mustang. It's a Ford engine, so probably why. I do sometimes like to drive it in the manual. But fantastic wine. It feels a bit like Mad Max. Well, it's at 70 mile an hour, just over 2,000 RPM. Fantastic, very quiet, very poised. You know, it's a very planted vehicle. It's with a combination of the wheel spacers and all the suspension modifications. Really made a difference. Like, really made a difference. Saying 80 mile an hour, one hand on the wheel, 2,500 RPM. Just super light on the steering, but direct, if you know. Which you wouldn't, unless you drive well, you wouldn't know what I mean. Yeah, I just wanted to give the intake pipe a bit of a shake down, make sure she's obviously on there okay, and done up all the clips and everything correctly. Not going to get anything flying or causing me issues. That was 12 miles an hour. Picks its feet up very well for an old girl. Very well. Hopefully you got the sound of the supercharger, because it's addictive, absolutely addictive. And then you get some prat in a Fiat 500 without it. So much fun. So much fun. Just an absolute pleasure to drive.